I saved my dad's company, a true story of betrayal, resilience, and redemption. I never imagined that the day I stepped into my father's dimly lit office, a room cluttered with unpaid invoices, faded contracts, and the heavy scent of despair, would mark the turning point of my life. At 26, fresh out of business school and full of hope, I arrived only to find our family corporation teetering on the brink of collapse. My father, a man who had built this company from nothing, now appeared worn and defeated, his eyes reflecting years of quiet suffering. "I believe it is over, son," he murmured, almost as if confessing a deep-seated defeat. That single moment ignited a fierce determination within me. I would save the legacy he had devoted his life to building. My father's creation was more than a business. It was his passion, his dream, and in many ways, the embodiment of his identity. Yet money had always been an elusive partner in his quest for greatness. By the time I was introduced to the harsh realities of our company's financial instability, it was clear that drastic change was imperative. With relentless energy, I immersed myself in every facet of the business, understanding supply chains, dissecting financial models, and negotiating renegotiated contracts with clients who, at first, dismissed me as an inexperienced youth. Every no stung, but it only steeled my resolve further. In stark contrast to my painstaking efforts stood my older brother, Adam. At 31, he exuded a carefree charm that made him a favorite in everyone's eyes. While I toiled away for 16-hour days, Adam was known for his extravagant lifestyle, charging personal whims to the company's account, attending parties, and relishing in the spotlight. His presence was both a constant reminder of familial favoritism and an ever-growing source of resentment. Even as I worked tirelessly to turn around our faltering enterprise, Adam's carefree demeanor and the attention he effortlessly garnered loomed like an unspoken challenge, a reminder that despite my sacrifice, the scales of recognition were forever tipped in his favor. I recall one particular evening when I returned to the office long after everyone else had left. The silence of the empty halls echoed my loneliness. In the solitude of that moment, I realized that the weight of the company's survival rested solely on my shoulders. I wasn't doing it for recognition or praise. I was doing it for Dad, for the countless nights he had spent sacrificing his own well-being for this dream. Yet, the deeper I dug into the company's operations, the more I sensed a silent undercurrent of betrayal, a feeling that not everything was as it seemed. I began to question, had I been too blinded by duty to notice the subtle hints of disloyalty that had been festering all along? As the months passed, painstaking progress transformed the company from a sinking ship into a budding enterprise. Revenues inched from scraping by to 8 figures, and eventually, we breached the elusive 9-figure mark. The change was palpable, not only in our bank statements but also in the renewed confidence of our staff and clients. For the first time in years, hope replaced despair. I could almost taste victory as I implemented cost-cutting measures, streamlined operations, and even curbed some of Adam's notorious spending habits. But every victory was tempered by an unshakable feeling of foreboding. Then came the fateful day of the shareholder meeting, a day that was meant to mark the official passing of the torch from my father's trembling hands to the steady grip of a capable successor. I had prepared meticulously, reviewing every detail of my presentation with the precision of someone who had spent countless sleepless nights perfecting his strategy. I believed this meeting would be a formality, a recognition of the transformation we had achieved together. After all, wasn't I the one who had worked in the trenches, the one who had rescued our company from the brink? I sat in the boardroom, surrounded by the faces of senior executives, board members, and employees who had come to witness what they believed would be a quiet celebration of our achievements. The air was thick with anticipation, a blend of pride and relief that the storm was finally subsiding. Then, as if on cue, the door swung open and in walked Adam, late, as was his style. He exuded a disarming smile, a casual confidence that bordered on arrogance. With a single wink directed at me, he took his seat at the table, an act that made my stomach twist in discomfort. I couldn't help but feel that his presence was not coincidental but premeditated, a calculated move meant to undermine everything I had accomplished. My father's entrance was equally dramatic. We all knew his penchant for grand gestures, and today was no exception. He spoke with the well-rehearsed enthusiasm of a man who had weathered countless storms, reminiscing about the company's humble beginnings and its journey toward success. But as his speech reached its climax, his eyes swept over the room, and in that charged silence, he uttered the words that would forever shatter my world. After much consideration, I have decided that Adam will be the new CEO. Time seemed to freeze. I sat there, frozen in disbelief, as my brain struggled to process the betrayal. Adam's smile widened, and he began to speak in a tone that dripped with insincerity as he clutched a folder in his hand. In a carefully constructed monologue, he presented evidence, vague allegations, and half-truths, accusing me of overstepping my authority, engaging in unapproved deals, and compromising the integrity of the company. Every word was a calculated strike, aimed at discrediting my years of hard work and devotion. I wanted to speak, to defend myself, but before I could utter a single word, my father interjected. Let him finish, his voice calm yet resolute. And then, in one swift, unanticipated moment, my world collapsed. Security guards, whose presence I had never deemed necessary before, emerged as if summoned by an unseen force. They moved with a mechanical efficiency, guiding me from the room and, ultimately, from the very company that I had resurrected from the ashes. As I was led away, Adam's parting words, softly, nothing personal, little brother, just business, echoed in my mind like a cruel refrain. The room that had once been filled with hope and promise was now a stage for my humiliation. The empire I had fought so hard to build was being usurped not through merit but through manipulation and favoritism. The journey that followed was one of isolation and seething determination. I retreated into myself, grappling with the sting of betrayal and the realization that my entire life's work had been commandeered by someone who had never truly earned it. The drive home was a blur of anger and disbelief. Every mile on the road seemed to pull me further away from the company I had saved and closer to the hard truth. My father's decisions had always been driven by a love for Adam, a love that I had never been able to compete with, no matter how much sweat and blood I had poured into every ledger and contract. Yet, even as I wallowed in despair, a quiet resolve began to crystallize within me. I realized that the true cost of my work was not measured in the accolades or the financial turnaround. It was measured in the integrity and loyalty that I had cultivated along the way. Over the years, I had forged deep relationships with the backbone of our company, the IT staff, senior developers, and dedicated managers who had stood by me through the darkest days. Their unwavering belief in our mission was a testament to the authenticity of our struggle, and it was for them, every quiet email of gratitude and every nod of understanding, that I decided I would not let Adam's betrayal go unanswered. I began to meticulously assemble a plan, one that was as calculated as it was inevitable. I had always known that the foundation of any great enterprise was built not just on assets.
Subscribe now, join us today.
But on the trust and dedication of its people. Over the years, in the shadows of long nights and endless spreadsheets, I had quietly established a separate business, a subsidiary designed to manage our most critical assets, our intellectual property, client contracts, and proprietary software. Legally autonomous and insulated from the whims of corporate politics, it was a safeguard I had set in motion long before I ever imagined such treachery would unfold. That fateful night, while the company's leadership celebrated their ill-gotten triumph, I set my plan into motion. With a heavy heart and a steely determination, I reached out to those who had remained loyal to our shared vision. One by one, I contacted the steadfast employees who had been there from the very beginning. I did not reveal the full extent of my plans, only enough to plant the seed of trust and caution. There is much more happening behind the scenes than you realize, I urged in my emails, and if you value your future and the integrity of our work, you must stand with those who built this company from the ground up. Simultaneously, I dove into a painstaking review of every document, email, contract, and financial record that spanned the years of our struggle. I gathered irrefutable evidence, details of excessive spending, unauthorized deals, and, most damning of all, traces of Adam's secret financial misdeeds. Every discrepancy, every shady contract, was documented with precision. By Sunday night, I had compiled a dossier thick enough to silence even the harshest skeptic, a folder of evidence that painted a vivid picture of manipulation, greed, and betrayal. The following morning, as the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, I logged into the company's internal network from the sanctuary of my home office. Although I was no longer an employee, I still retained access, an oversight that Adam, in his careless arrogance, had never corrected. With a trembling mixture of anxiety and resolve, I activated the fail-safe script I had painstakingly embedded in our system years earlier. It was not malicious in intent, no viruses, no damage to our operations, but rather a silent sentinel that would transfer every internal communication to a secure server under my control. Every email, every memo, every meeting invitation would be seen, recorded, and, when the time was right, revealed. Then, with cold precision, I turned my attention to Adam's workstation. His password, unchanged since his college days, was an open invitation to the truth. I uploaded a video file onto his desktop, a video that was the culmination of years of quiet observation and careful documentation. The File was set to play automatically the moment Adam logged in, a trap designed not to humiliate him for the sake of humiliation, but to remind him, and everyone else, of the cost of deceit. By 8:15 a.m., the stage was set for a reckoning. As Adam strolled into the office that morning, still wrapped in his habitual smug confidence, the first notes of his undoing began to play out. Through the discreet gaze of our company's security feed, I watched him take his seat at the CEO's desk. With the same nonchalance he had always displayed, he powered on his computer and leaned back in his chair. And then, the video began. At first, Adam's face registered confusion, as if he had woken from a dream only to find it unraveling before him. But as the footage continued, a montage of his most questionable decisions, complete with time-stamps and stark evidence, his bewilderment gave way to panic. His face flushed a deep, unmistakable red as he banged furiously on the keyboard, desperate to close the file, to silence the mounting evidence of his betrayal. But it was too late. Every screen in his office displayed the damning footage. As if orchestrated by fate, simultaneous notifications began to flood the inboxes of every board member, department head, and major investor associated with the company. Each email contained a piece of the carefully curated evidence I had amassed, accompanied by succinct yet unequivocal descriptions of how Adam's reckless actions had imperiled the future of the organization. The tone was measured, professional, and impossibly factual, leaving no room for the kind of ambiguity that had once allowed him to manipulate perceptions so effortlessly. Outside the walls of the building, the ripple effects of that morning were already unfolding. In the lobby, federal agents, whose arrival I had long anticipated, stepped through the doors with quiet authority. They had been alerted by my prior tip regarding Adam's questionable financial practices, and they were now poised to question him on charges of fraud, embezzlement, and collusion with competitors. In a matter of moments, the entire structure, once a beacon of my father's vision, transformed into the epicenter of a scandal that would soon capture the attention of the media and the market alike. Adam, for all his charm and bluster, was suddenly rendered impotent by the overwhelming tide of evidence. He scrambled to salvage his crumbling authority, phoning board members, reaching out to my father, even attempting to contact me, but every call went unanswered, every plea met with silence. Meanwhile, an email from the IT department, brimming with an unexpected solidarity, declared that they were resigning en masse. Their contracts were now tied exclusively to the subsidiary I had built, one founded on principles of integrity, innovation, and respect. Their simple statement, "We stand with the person who built this company," resonated through the halls like a clarion call for change. By mid-morning, the board had convened an emergency meeting. Although I was not physically present, I watched through the network security feed as Adam was summoned into a room where no friendly faces awaited him. The conversation that ensued, though I could only infer its details, was anything but cordial. Within hours, it became apparent that the board had reached a unanimous, albeit reluctant, decision. Adam was to be removed from the company. His departure, swift and decisive, left behind not just an empty office, but a legacy tarnished by greed and deception. Throughout the unfolding chaos, I felt a complex mixture of emotions. There was no smug satisfaction in seeing Adam brought low, no glee in witnessing his downfall. Rather, I experienced a profound, bittersweet relief. For years, I had labored in the shadows, determined not for vengeance but for balance, a return to the core values upon which our family's enterprise was built. Adam's reliance on charm and manipulation had finally been exposed, and with it, the stark realization that leadership must be earned, not inherited. Even as the company's stock price plummeted in a free fall that mirrored our shattered illusions, I knew that this moment was not the culmination of our story, but rather its rebirth. The media was quick to seize upon the scandal, painting Adam as the poster child for nepotism gone awry, a cautionary tale of ambition unchecked by accountability. Every element of his mismanagement, from extravagant expenses to clandestine side deals, was laid bare for the world to see. His legal troubles mounted as federal prosecutors pressed charges that would inevitably ruin his reputation, while my father, silent for the first few days, was left to grapple with the magnitude of his misjudgment. In the midst of the turmoil, I turned my attention to those who had truly kept the company alive during its darkest hours. With measured precision, I composed an email addressed to every employee, an email that would serve as both a message of hope and an invitation to join a new beginning. The subject line read simply, "A new opportunity for our future." In it, I acknowledged the events of the previous day, recognizing that many were understandably shaken. I reassured them that their dedication had never gone unnoticed, and that a new organization, one that valued transparency, innovation, and loyalty, was ready to embrace them. I promised that their jobs and benefits would remain secure, and that they would finally be working under a leadership that truly respected their contributions. The response was immediate and overwhelming. By the end of the day, nearly 93% of our employees had accepted the offer to transition into the new venture, a living testament to the deep-rooted loyalty they had for the company we had built together. Their messages of gratitude and hope flooded my inbox, each note a poignant reminder of why I had fought so hard in the first place. It wasn't just about saving a corporation. It was about preserving the integrity of every individual who had poured their heart and soul into its success. As the week progressed, the full extent of Adam's misdeeds became public knowledge. Detailed investigations revealed that he had been siphoning money through forged vendor contracts and engaging in clandestine deals with competitors, all for personal gain. The once admired playboy was now a pariah, his every miscalculation and indiscretion scrutinized by the relentless glare of the public eye. Legal proceedings ensued, and though Adam was eventually released on bail, his reputation was irreparably tarnished. The empire he had so carelessly taken over was reduced to a hollow shell, a monument to his incompetence and deceit. For me, the transformation was not simply about retribution, it was about restoring balance. I had never sought to ruin Adam completely. My goal was to remind everyone, from our father to the board members and every loyal employee, why the company had thrived under the careful stewardship of those who truly understood its value. In reclaiming what was rightfully mine, the intangible yet invaluable trust of our team, I had also reclaimed a part of myself that had been buried beneath layers of sacrifice and unrecognized labor. In the quiet moments that followed the chaos of that fateful morning, I often found myself alone in my home office, reflecting on the twists and turns that had led me to this juncture. The echoes of my father's disappointed gaze, the smug nonchalance of Adam's parting words, and the steadfast support of those who had believed in our vision, all played out in my mind like a haunting symphony of betrayal and redemption. I wasn't celebrating a personal victory. I was mourning the loss of a family dynamic that had once promised unity and shared purpose. Instead, I was forging a new path, one built on the firm foundation of truth and accountability. The fallout was as swift as it was severe. Investors, shocked by the revelations, began to withdraw their support, and the company's valuation nosedived. Yet, this financial collapse was a necessary purge, a cleansing of the rot that had allowed corruption to take root. The subsidiary I had meticulously nurtured over the years suddenly became the linchpin of our future. Legally autonomous and robust, it was designed not just to safeguard our intellectual property but to serve as the foundation for a new business model, one that honored the hard work of the many rather than the whims of the few. In the days that followed, I witnessed a metamorphosis that was both tragic and hopeful. The corridors of the old company, once bustling with the chaotic energy of imminent success, now echoed with uncertainty and regret. Adam's empty office, once a symbol of his ill-gotten power, stood as a silent monument to a reign of manipulation. Meanwhile, my new organization, founded on principles of respect, transparency, and shared accountability, began to take shape. It was not merely a business venture, it was a promise to every person who had endured the roller coaster of our corporate saga that they would be valued for their contributions, not their connections. I remember receiving one final, cryptic message from my father during this period of transformation. It was brief, a simple, "I'm sorry," scrawled in the margins of an old family letter. I never learned what prompted his apology, a moment of clarity, a recognition of past mistakes, or perhaps a final acknowledgement that the scales of favor had been irrevocably tipped. In that moment, I realized that while the external chaos was beginning to settle, the internal scars, the betrayals of trust and the pain of unreciprocated sacrifice, would linger for a lifetime. Now, as I sit in my new office, a space filled with hope, determination, and the collective dreams of those who refuse to be mere pawns in a game of power, I can't help but reflect on the journey that brought me here. The story of our company is not one of simple triumph or tragic downfall. It is a tapestry woven with threads of loyalty, betrayal, sacrifice, and ultimately, redemption. I saved my father's company not for glory, but to honor the countless hours of hard work, to preserve the integrity of every individual who had ever believed in our vision, and to ensure that the legacy of trust and dedication would outlast the fleeting shadows of favoritism and deceit. Looking back, I understand that every step of this tumultuous journey was both inevitable and necessary. The betrayal by my own flesh and blood forced me to confront the harsh realities of power, legacy, and the fine line between personal sacrifice and professional ambition. Adam's rise and fall were not just a cautionary tale of nepotism gone wrong. They were a mirror reflecting the deeper truths about the cost of neglecting true leadership. Leadership, I learned, is not about charisma or effortless charm. It is about accountability, sacrifice, and the willingness to stand alone in the face of overwhelming adversity. Today, our new organization stands as a beacon of hope and resilience in an industry that often values flash over substance. The employees who once labored under the weight of a corrupted legacy are now part of something greater, a movement that champions transparency, honors hard work, and believes that every voice matters. As for me, the scars of betrayal remain, a constant reminder that even the most dedicated can be overlooked when personal biases and misplaced affections cloud judgment. Yet, those scars have also become a source of strength, a testimony to the power of perseverance in the face of overwhelming odds. In the quiet moments after the storm has passed, I often revisit the memory of that first fateful day in Dad's office. The sight of his defeated eyes and the sound of his quiet resignation have long been etched into my memory. But now, they serve as both a reminder of the weight of responsibility and a motivation to forge ahead with unwavering integrity. The battle for the soul of our company was never about personal vindication. It was about ensuring that the hard-fought dreams of our past were not sacrificed at the altar of convenience and favoritism. As I pen down these reflections, I am aware that our journey is far from over. The scars left by betrayal, though slowly healing, remain a part of me, a constant reminder that the pursuit of justice and integrity is a lifelong endeavor. And while the echoes of my father's quiet apologies and Adam's fading laughter continue to reverberate in my mind, I have learned that true redemption lies not in revenge, but in the courage to rebuild, to trust again, and to lead with a heart that values the collective over the individual. This is a true story, a chronicle of hardship, resilience, and the inexorable pursuit of justice.
Subscribe now. Join us today.
It is the story of how I saved my father's company, transforming a near-certain collapse into a thriving $150 million empire, all while enduring the personal betrayal of a brother who never truly understood that true leadership is earned, not given. It is a story of long nights spent in solitude, of the quiet determination that emerged amidst despair, and of the realization that every sacrifice has its price. And in the end, it is a testament to the idea that even when the world seems determined to strip away everything you hold dear, there is always a way to rise again, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever. As I look out the window of my new office at dusk, the skyline of our revitalized business district stands as a silent witness to our collective struggle and triumph. I know that the path ahead will not be easy. The wounds of the past may never fully heal, and the shadows of betrayal may linger in the recesses of my mind. But with every new day, I am reminded that our true strength lies not in our unblemished record, but in our ability to overcome adversity, to stand by our principles, and to transform personal loss into a catalyst for lasting change. For those who have followed this journey, from the desperate early days when hope seemed all but lost, through the excruciating betrayal in that boardroom, to the painstaking resurrection of a legacy built on honesty and unwavering commitment, I offer my deepest gratitude. Your trust, your loyalty, and your belief in a better future have been the guiding light in the darkest of times. And as our new organization continues to grow, I am confident that the values we hold dear, integrity, innovation, and above all, respect for every individual's contribution, will be the bedrock upon which we build not just a business, but a lasting legacy of redemption and hope. This is more than just a story of corporate intrigue or a tale of sibling rivalry gone awry. It is the story of a man who, in the face of overwhelming betrayal, found within himself the courage to reclaim what was rightfully his, not for the sake of personal glory, but for the honor of preserving a legacy built on hard work and unwavering integrity. It is a story that reminds us all that even in the most desperate of times, when the bonds of family and loyalty are tested to their breaking point, there is always a path forward, a path lit by the enduring power of truth, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of those who dare to fight for what is right. And so, as the chapter of our old company comes to a close, I stand ready to embrace a future where every decision is guided not by favoritism or convenience, but by a deep and abiding respect for the truth. The road ahead may be fraught with challenges, and the scars of the past may never fully fade, but I now understand that it is these very scars that make us who we are, a testament to the fact that in the face of betrayal, we have the power not only to survive, but to rise again, stronger and more resolute than ever. This is my story, a story of saving an empire, of confronting betrayal with unwavering resolve, and of forging a future where justice and integrity triumph over the fleeting allure of power. And while the echoes of that tumultuous day still linger in the silent corridors of my memory, they serve as a constant reminder that the true measure of a leader is not found in accolades or inherited favor, but in the relentless pursuit of what is right, even when it means standing alone against the tide. In the end, I have come to realize that every sacrifice, every sleepless night, and every moment of doubt has been a necessary step on this arduous journey toward redemption. And as I move forward, I carry with me not only the lessons of the past but also the unyielding hope that one day, the true spirit of our family's legacy will shine through, untainted by the shadows of deceit, and embraced by a future built on transparency, mutual respect, and unwavering integrity. Epilogue: The dawn of a new legacy. Today, as I reflect on the saga that transformed a near-ruined company into a thriving enterprise, I recognize that the story is far more than a chronicle of business acumen or a tale of revenge. It is a testament to the enduring power of resilience, the cost of unchecked ambition, and the possibility of redemption even in the darkest moments. The lessons I have learned, and the sacrifices I have made, serve as a constant reminder that true success is measured not by the size of one's empire, but by the strength of one's character and the unwavering commitment to doing what is right. I saved my father's company, not for personal gain, but as a tribute to every soul that had ever believed in the possibility of a better tomorrow. And while the scars of betrayal remain etched into my heart, they have also become the source of my greatest strength, an enduring reminder that even when the world turns its back on me, there is always a way to rise again, fueled by the unquenchable flame of hope and the unwavering spirit of those who refuse to surrender their dreams. This is the true story of how I reclaimed what was rightfully mine, not by stooping to the level of those who betrayed me, but by elevating myself and the countless individuals who had placed their trust in our shared vision. It is a story of pain and loss, yes, but also of triumph and renewal, a story that continues to unfold with every new day, as we build a legacy that honors the past while boldly embracing the future. And so, as I step into this new era with the lessons of yesterday etched into my soul, I extend an invitation to all who have stood by us, who have believed in the promise of a better, more honest future. Join me, as together, we build not just a company, but a lasting testament to the power of truth, the strength of unity, and the enduring spirit of resilience. In the end, it was never just about saving a business. It was about salvaging the very essence of what makes us human, the courage to fight for what is right, even when the odds seem insurmountable, and the determination to rebuild from the ashes of betrayal into something far greater than we ever imagined possible. This is my truth, my legacy, and the foundation upon which a new, brighter future is built.
Subscribe now. Join us today. Enter beyond reality, where enchanting story times, thrilling mysteries, and timeless adventures ignite your imagination. Subscribe now. Join us today.